What's happening?
How are you? Good. How are
Good,
you?
man. Good. Dude, so big weekend. What's up, bro? Got two
Yeah,
girls'
I thought I
numbers. How do
dropped
you
this weekend.
how do you feel about that, bro? Like, how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, very different, man.
Like
Compared to previous.
previous weekends and stuff, or previously going out.
Yeah.
You kind of understood now,
Yeah.
like the power of your vibe, right?
Yeah.
Like it's really the only thing that matters, right? If your vibe is off, right? Like you might get lucky, but it's you weren't so hungry, right? Like remember how you kept, oh, how do I get the number? How do I get the number? If you do things right, she'll give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
And it's much more effective. So have you been texting them? What's up?
So I just texted like the thing you said, but didn't get any reply yet.
But she didn't reply?
No.
And that's both of them?
Yeah, both of them.
Okay. So, remember, like, so I mentioned that I was like, so yesterday I was at the mall and I let my daughter and my sister-in-law, my wife's little sister, they're about the same age. They always come out here for the summer. So I took them to the mall in San Diego and I let them kind of just do their thing. And I went to the food court and was just chilling, doing some writing. And then a group of, it was crazy because all the places they could sit, they sat right next to me at the table right next to me, but it was a group of really pretty girls. Like there's 5 of them, college age, super pretty, visiting from all over the country. I guess they all went to ASU. And so after you messaged me like, hey, what do I say? What do I do? I was like, well, let me ask these girls, what, you know what I mean? Like what things not to do, what, you know, let me see their opinion. And so I, talked to them. I was like, hey, like what are the worst things that guys do when it comes to texting? And so what they came up with, the big things were, okay, the 3-day, like I guess there's a 3-day rule, where back in my day it was on like a 1-day rule or something, but like the time limit that you give yourself on texting, that's stupid. Like one of the prettiest girls in the group was like, if a guy waits 3 days, like that's dumb. Don't wait. Just, you know what I mean? Like text, right? So basically, and I think this way as well. Like you need to strike while the iron's hot. You know what I mean? Like at the end of that night or when they still remember you. Because if you wait to send that message, you kind of like, they might get like buyer's remorse. You know what I'm saying? So they might think about like, oh, well, like he didn't text me or whatever. Maybe he didn't want my number. Maybe he's playing games. You know what I'm saying? But it's best to like that same night text her like, hey, it was great meeting you. Really cool. Like you strike while the iron's hot. And then the next day you can text her again like, hey, hope you got home safe. Again, it was really nice meeting you. And then you can leave it at that, right? Because another thing that same girl said was double texting is okay. You know, double texting is all right. It's just like, and then they all kind of agreed that like when you're trying to ghost somebody, right? Like the more they text, the worse it gets. So double texting is all right, but if you got to also get the hint that like, okay, well, this person isn't interested. And again, that's what I was talking about, how like you need to delete the text stream so that you're not just constantly looking at it, wanting to reach out. Because once they decide that they're not going to talk to you, right? Like, or that they like, whatever the case may be, whatever, and they're fully within their rights to make that decision, right? It's their decision. And if they cross that line and make that decision, there isn't really anything that you can say or do that will change their mind. Your best bet is running into them later and them seeing you, and then you reignite the thing. But that has to happen organically. You know what I mean? Like it can't be. It's like the situation has to arise for that to happen. But they were mentioning that when I'm trying to ghost a guy, it just gets annoying if they keep constantly texting me. You know what I mean? And eventually I have to block them. So double texting is all right, but like triple texting and like not getting the message, like if they're not hitting you back, you know, like I said, it's best to just kind of get rid of the contact information and just let it go. You know what I mean? You kind of let that female go and understand that like, look, you got 2 numbers in one night. You know what I mean? Like, so it's totally possible, right? Now that you understand vibe, like, now you're kind of entering that phase of abundance with women. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you don't have to be so desperate to get one, you know, because your vibe is right. If your vibe is right, you'll attract people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally get it.
And you see the difference now. Like, how do you feel, right? Like, you don't even feel like, even if both of these girls don't pan out and they don't message you back, like, are you like, don't you feel more optimistic about next weekend?
Yeah, totally.
You
For
know,
the next one, because now I feel like I'm getting some opening,
exactly.
something I can crack up.
It's progress, right? Like, it's progress. Like, I can't teach you how to be good with women overnight. You know what I mean? I can kind of guide you on this road and this path.
I mean, I wish there was like, when I see like even a coach like you, I wish there was like some book where I could get answers easily.
I mean, honestly, there's books, and I mean, I can write a book. You want me to write a book? I'll write a book. I can write a
But
book.
I mean, I can get like answers easily. Like, okay, when you see a woman, what should I keep up with that? Something like a paragraph.
Yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, you're basically inspiring me right now. I'll write a book. I'll do my best to write a book by the end of the week, because with AI I can do it. You know what I mean? I already know the concepts. I just don't know how to get it down. So I can use AI to kind of get down the information, and then so that you can have I don't know. I'll send you the link and you can be the first person to read it or whatever. But yeah, it's principles, right? There's no like line. People want to like sum it up to like, oh, say this and you'll get this. It's like, no, like, understand these base principles, right? If you are positive, if you compliment, if you're good at talking to strangers, right? Like, your chances improve. You know what I mean? If you're just friendly with everybody, not just with people that you're attracted to, then when you are friendly with somebody that you're attracted to, it's not weird. You know what I'm saying? So like that's like a base principle. It's not what to say to somebody that you're attracted to. It's just how to be a really cool person, you know, to everybody. Like, once you understand that, like, then you're authentic. Then it's only a matter of time. You know what I mean? Like, if you can really grasp that and you develop like a really solid, positive personality that people really like you, and you know what I mean, and you're friendly and you care, you know, not for what you have to gain, but for what you can kind of do for other people. Like, even with me, right? Like, you like me because I'm invested in you. I care about you, you know, and that's me leading by example, like showing you what I'm talking about. You know, where like when you messaged me that happened, I was in the middle of the mall, like, oh hell yeah, bro, that's my boy, that's sick, I'm pumped, right? I was literally like excited when I read that message. You know what I'm saying? And what does that cost me?
Happiness, except the things you taught me, the results of that.
Exactly. But what does it cost me? It costs me nothing. It's free to be a good person. It's free to be kind. It's free to be excited, right? Like, oh, my friend's success, right? Like, we're friends, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm excited. Like, hell yeah! Like, you got you listen to what I said, and now you're kind of understanding. And again, like, you can't. It's hard to understand it even when I'm breaking it down to you. But once you do it, then it's like, oh, he's right. You know what I mean? Like, he's not just blowing smoke up my ass. Like, it's true what he says. If you have a good vibe, if you talk to them about what they're interested in, you know, you discover what their interests are and you talk to them about that, you know what I mean? And instead of like trying to sell yourself, it's a different game. You know, then you're making them feel something. You know, so like, you did good, right? Like, even getting the number and then messaging what you messaged, it's good. It's good practice. Like, and even like if you don't, they both don't reach out to you, and it is what it is. It's still experience. It's still better. You know what I mean? It's and there's no reason to get upset. You know what I mean? Again, like,
but the thing is, like, if you vibe well, you know, what would be the reason that they would not reach out to us?
Again, there's a concept of like buyer's remorse, right? You ever spend money on something and then you kind of regret it? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I didn't really need this. Like, why did I get this? Right? So that sets in if it appears like you're playing games, right? So not that you were playing games, right? But like, for example, that 3-day rule, right? Like that girl said was like, oh, like the 3-day rule is stupid. Well, the 3-day rule is stupid. She didn't expand on why it's stupid, but I can. It's stupid because you're playing a game. Like, if you wanted my number, if you liked me, why didn't you just message me right away? You know what I mean? Making her wait to be messaged is like, you know, and I'm not saying that that's what happened to you. You know, I'm just saying, but that's one of the reasons they get that buyer's remorse. And again, like, it's within their rights. You know what I mean? Like, even if you hit it off and it was great and it was awesome, like, at any given moment, they can be like, they are entitled to have buyer's remorse. Like, okay, well, I don't like this. You know what I mean? Like for example, so what I asked them was like, what are some things that you hate when a guy does? And once they do it through like text message, you're instantly like, I don't want to message this guy anymore. And one of it was like, okay, like a few of the things were only messaging at night, right? Like if you only message them at night, that says something. You know what I'm saying? If you only, and then if you ask for like pictures, you know what I mean? If you ask for pictures, it's like, okay, this guy's gross. Like there's no reason for them to send you pictures. Unless if they want to send you pictures, they can send you pictures. But you should never ask for pictures. You know what I'm saying? And that's partially why like even getting the Instagram. If you get the Instagram and you start liking all their pictures, right? It shows that you're just staring at them. You know, like it shows that like, okay, well now, wow, like I'm obsessed with how this girl looks. And it's like, despite what people may think, like everybody likes to feel like they look good, but nobody likes to be stared at like a piece of meat. You know, and that's kind of why I'm more inclined to try and get a girl's number, because then you don't have that temptation to just like if she wants to send you a picture, she can, you know, but if she like you never ask, what are you doing? You know what I mean? What are you doing right now? Where are you at? Like it gets, you see how that path kind of goes into like this perverse, where it's like text message. I mean, there's things like Snapchat where things get deleted. You know what I mean? But even like asking to go to Snapchat, it's like, it's implied that you're going to ask for some shit that you don't want. You know what I mean? And like the second you ask, well, now you're a creep. You know what I mean? You could have had an amazing vibe and been really friendly and been really cool, but the second you ask for a picture, or what are you wearing, or can I join you in the shower, or some dumb shit like that, like they are now like, they're like, okay, well, this guy's gross, and they're not gonna tell you, they're just gonna stop messaging you. You know, they're gonna just be, they're not gonna, like, in an ideal world, like everybody's communication skills are like, hey, I'm not really feeling this. But let's be real, like men's ego typically, like, okay, well, if a girl says, hey, I'm not really interested in you like that, like a guy is inclined, especially nowadays, is inclined to be like, well, you're ugly anyways, you ugly bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like the fragile ego lashes out, you know? Like, so if you make your move, again, like you were saying before, it's like, oh, should I let them know? Should I let them know? It's like, they will let you know when you should let them know. You know what I mean? You don't need to let them know. It's not your responsibility to let them know. You know what I mean? Because it's a game. I mean, I hate to say that it's a game, but it is a game. And you have to understand the rules and the dynamics, right? A woman can't just be like I said, she's not just going to be into you because you're into her, especially if there's a disparity in the attraction, in the physical attraction. Because ultimately everybody seeks status. You know what I mean? But if your personality is so dope, right? Like the physicality it becomes less important. You know what I mean? Like, okay, being physically attractive isn't really as important. Now, obviously, there's a degree of importance, but it's like, if your personality is dope and they just like to talk to you and spend time with you, you know, like they'll do it. You know what I mean? Again, like in a previous conversation, you had said like a woman, or I think you messaged me one time and you're like, well, isn't a woman more obligated to go on a date than to spend time with a friend? And then I told you, it's like, they're going to do what they want to do. They're not obligated to do anything. They don't owe anything to anybody. But if you make them want to, you know, because of how you make them feel in their like how they feel when they're in your presence, well, then they're more inclined to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the rules of the game. But the second, like if I were to try and control you, would you like me?
No.
Exactly. So you can't control a woman, right? And you can't be upset at them having their freedom, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You just have to simply work on yourself and your own personality and your vibe, right? And the vibes you put out, and develop a personality that's like people want to be around. You know, I really like a girl will be like, if she says you're cute, you're enough. You know what I'm saying? You're physically enough, right? If she says you're ugly, right? Well, you kind of shit out of like you're at a disadvantage, a very big disadvantage. But if you're at least cute, right? Physically, it's like, okay, as long as he doesn't fuck this up, I'll let him. Like I'll see where this goes. But they're waiting for you to fuck it up. And the average guy, 99% of guys will fuck it up because they're so thirsty. They're so hungry for that, like the physical. Go use the other bathroom, dude. Bishop. Sorry. You got what?
It's good.
Right here. Sorry, my son came in the room. But what was I saying? Yeah, so like one, if you're like she gave you her number, right, without you asking, like that night you could have texted her, you know what I mean, before the night was over, and been like, hey, you know, you say that like, hey, it's so nice meeting you, you're super cool, right? And then chances are, if you strike while the iron's hot, right, and you don't wait for it to cool down, she'll be more inclined. But if you let it cool down, like, you can't really be surprised if she, you know, if she gets buyer's remorse, right? Because if she gets buyer's remorse, she might, like, in that time, like, they're in their head too. You know what I mean? Maybe they're thinking, like, why did I give this guy my number? Like, you know what I'm saying? And they have that time to think. So it's like forging metal, right? Like, it's more pliable when it's hot. So that's what striking while the iron's hot means. You know what I mean?
I see.
So buyer's remorse is that thing that, like, that's what you're asking about, where why would a girl not text me back? She may feel like, okay, well, you know, she may think about it, or maybe her friends will get to her. You know what I mean? Like, her friends will be like, oh, like, that guy wasn't that cute. You know what I mean? Or whatever. You know, like, you don't know, right? Like, what it is, but they're entitled to that, and they're allowed to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you really can't get upset. And if you get upset, you're playing into you're becoming what everybody else is. You know what I mean? If a person calls you, like, ugly, if you get mad, then they're right. You know what I mean? But if you're like, okay, well, you're entitled to your opinion, but that doesn't mean that I am. You know what I mean? Like then they don't win, right? Like, you don't have to receive that energy. But yeah, so, like, yeah, text them, and then you could even be like, hey, hope you're, like, so for the second day, if they haven't messaged you back, you can be like, hey, like, just send something positive, and send something positive in the sense of, like, hey, hope your day's going well, and just be friendly. You know what I mean? Like, boom, that's it. And don't repeat anything, just send it. And if that's kind of just giving them a reason to text you back. And if they don't text you back, okay, then delete it. You know, delete everything. And then just be ready for the next week. You know, like, you got further and further, right? Next time you get a girl's number, you text them. You know, and what's to say you guys aren't up late that night texting each other? You know?
I'm not sure now. Next time, how lucky I will be.
Huh?
Not sure how lucky I will be next time.
Well, I mean, if you gain these skills, right? Like, if you do what I say, like, it doesn't boil down to luck. You know what I mean? Just make friends, be friendly, and be interested. You know?
Yeah, but it's not like I cannot pull off with each and every girl the same way.
It's true. You know what I mean? It's true, but it's like that mindset doesn't.
Some of them will turn it off before approaching.
And that's part of it. You know what I mean? It's part of it. You know, but as long as you develop, like I said, if you develop that personality, right? Like, again, it goes into social proof, right? Like, now you're going to the club and you're that really cool dude that was really friendly with everybody. You know what I mean? And really cool with the chicks, right? Like, say a girl gave you her number and you didn't blow her phone up, right? If you didn't blow her phone up, she's not going to be, like, weird when she sees you. But if you blow her phone up, she's going to be like, oh God, this guy's weird and creepy. You know, if a girl gives you her number and you text the wrong thing, like, let's say you get too sexual too early over text, you know, and you ask for pictures, or you do some creepy shit over text, like I said, she's not gonna tell you that was gross or that was weird or don't do that. she's gonna just say, like, bye. She's just not gonna say anything. And then when she sees you, she's gonna have evidence, right? Oh, that guy's creepy. Look at what he was blowing my phone up, like he's weird. You know what I mean? That's the importance of not over texting somebody that's just not interested. If you feel like they're not interested, that's fine. It's okay. Don't get upset, but don't keep going. You already lost it. You're better off trying with somebody else. Because if you keep trying with them, then it makes you look bad. Like, you open yourself up to vulnerabilities for everybody else. Like, let's say she has a cute friend that might have been into you, but she told her, no, don't talk to that guy. He's fucking weird. Because you blew up her phone. You know, but if you texted twice and you got no response, that's fine. Like, she can't be mad at you. You know what I mean? You're not gonna give her that reason unless you, in those 2 text messages, you got really gross and creepy. You know what I mean? If you get gross and creepy through text, she has evidence to show that you're gross and creepy. Just keep it polite, you know, keep it like, hope your day's going well. You know what I mean? Like, hope you got home safe. You know what I mean? Like, there's things that you can say that doesn't cross into that line. And you don't, as a guy, like, just, there's no reason to do that unless you guys are already in a committed, serious relationship. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not talking to each other, if you're not already, like, crossing that line, you definitely don't need to cross that line through text. Like, I don't even text my wife freaky shit. You know what I mean? She's my wife. Right? Like, there's no use, there's no need to ever text or try and get freaky shit through text messages. That's just creepy. You see what I'm saying? Like, I love my wife. Like, I think she's gorgeous, and my hands are all over all the time, and I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that we're not like that, you know what I mean? But it's like, there's just not a reason to do that. If she wants to, right? Like, sometimes later on, if a girl is really into you, she will involuntarily send you something. But again, that doesn't mean that you need to send anything back. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but definitely never ask for it. Never ever ask for it. Because if you ask for it, now you're gross, and you're only talking to her for one reason. Does that make sense?
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, so I mean, as far as with the girls and texting, yeah, you can send another text, but again, keep it more friendly and very, like, you don't necessarily need to repeat anything that you said. You know what I mean? Could, like, with text, like, especially if it's a double text, you don't have to repeat.
And when you are, like, texting something, what are the things you will be better to say, so they will feel like, let's text him again, back, something like that.
What's that? I didn't really understand.
What I mean is, what are the texts which will make them interesting?
Well, first off, they have to text you back. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have to. If they don't text you back, like I said, you'll see a lot of ads for, like, dating coaches that will say, "Oh, here's one thing you can say to, like, get a girl who ghosted you to come to." That's not real, right? That's not. And if it did work, it doesn't work anymore. You know what I mean? Because women have the same access to the same information. You know, like, there's no thing that you can get them to say that's like, now they're interested. Either you made an impact on them in person, and then you gotta ride that wave, right? This guy was so interesting because he was so interested in me. Like, you know, he made me feel very interesting, right? But then, like, you gotta ride that wave when you have it. If you don't, then you miss your opportunity. You know, if they text you back, then they're open for conversation. And still same, you ask questions. You know what I mean? You ask questions and you give short, brief answers to their questions. You know, but if you're asking questions, like, you're giving them, basically look at asking them questions and making them feel interesting as a way to, what's it called? As a way to give them an opportunity to talk about themselves. All right? Like, and the more that they talk about themselves, the more interesting they will feel, and the more the better off you are. again, like you would love to tell everybody about like how good you are at the things you're good at, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has that feeling. You know what I mean? Especially women. You know, like if you can facilitate them talking about themselves, and not in like a weird way where they're like they have to justify things. It's just like, you know, like, so what is this about? Like, oh, tell me more about that, right? Like, you're from here. What is it like there? What food do you miss the most, right? Like, or what are some lessons? You know what I mean? If you can get to where you can ask deep questions through text and give them reasons to text you back. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's interesting. Boom, 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 and just keep going. Like, it's similar to that first vibe that like you're making. You know what I mean? When you meet them in person, where you're just asking questions, make them feel interesting. You know, and if they stop texting you, don't double text, right? Like, it is what it is. You know, but if they've told you like 4 or 5 things about themselves, chances are they're gonna text you. Chances are you can be like, oh, my bad. Like, if the text thing goes dead for that night, the night that you meet them or whatever, if it drops the next morning, you can be like, oh, my bad, I'm passed out. How are you doing today? You know, and then you open up the conversation again. You see what I'm saying? But also being willing to be the one to be like, okay, I gotta go. You know what I mean? Or not feel the need to instantly message them back. If that makes any sense.
I see.
Yeah. And then just ask them questions that will give them a reason to talk to you. And then they'll either answer it or they won't. You know, and at any given moment they can decide not to. You know, girls talk to their friends, and it's funny, like, because like you know, if one of their homegirls doesn't like you for whatever reason, right? Like, that's another thing that you're gonna have to worry about. Like, sometimes they won't like you. That sometimes her friends will be like, okay, no, he's gross or creepy, or they don't like you or whatever. They get a vibe, and that will lead to like buyer's remorse. You know what I'm saying? So another big part of it that you're gonna have to learn is how to deal with the friends. If you make the friends feel cool and included and interesting, right? It's not just the one, but this is obviously later on. You know, but that's gonna be one of your biggest things that you're gonna have to deal with, is the friends. You know what I mean? Because friends look out for their friends, and if you give their friends a vibe that like is weird and creepy, then like they're gonna tell them that, like, okay, you probably shouldn't text that guy back. You know, but if her friends like you and she likes you, then like they'll ask like, hey, how's conversations with that one dude? You know, how's that going? But it's different, right? Like, it's different and interesting.
But the fact is, like, how do you make sure that the friends will also have a vibe? Because, like I say about these girls before, it's not that every girl will come alone. Like, you will rarely see a girl who is alone out there. So
what you do is you approach the whole group.
So it's like whenever you are trying to approach a group or some bunch of girls, it's like most of the time they will get pretty weird vibes also. Right.
Yeah.
One of them will get good, but another won't, and then this also gonna mess up the things. So I like the best ways.
So the best way, and it's not, again, like, there isn't a thing I can say, right? There's not a line like, lines are stupid. You know what I mean? It's mentalities. It's principles. You know what I mean? Do you play chess?
Yeah.
Okay,
sometimes.
so you know how, like, the principle of developing your pieces, right? Like, you can get if you get your strong pieces out in the middle of the board, it sets you up for success. Kind of, or controlling the middle of the board. I don't know how much you know about, like, how deeply you are into chess, but that's a base principle, right? Like, you'll have more success if you get your strong pieces that are behind the pawns, and you get them in the middle of the board. Right? That's a base principle. That's not like, it's not how you do it. It's not, strategizing how to do it. It's just that if you do it, that's a base principle. So when approaching a group of girls, the base principle is to approach the whole group. Ask the whole group a question. Don't just ask one question, or don't just comment on one of the girls. Just be like for example, one night I was out and I was with a friend and he told me, hey, go talk to those girls, and they all had black leather jackets. You know what I'm saying? They were all wearing a similar thing, and I went up to all of them and I was like, hey, I didn't get the email. I didn't know we were all wearing black leather jackets today. You know what I'm saying? And then they laugh and it's funny, and then you're kind of in there, and then you just kind of engage all of them. You know, obviously there's one that you're going to be attracted to the most, but if you get too fast, if anything, like, I hate to say it, but you kind of gotta ignore her per se, you know, but not too much. Man, there's like weird tactics and strategies that come into like pickup and stuff that I kind of like to stay away from. But like essentially the one you're attracted to, you want to like, you don't want to be too thirsty to her, and you kind of want to make her qualify you. But that comes from like engaging the whole group. Like if everybody in the group is having fun talking to you because you're talking to all of them, like, oh, you look, you know, boom, 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 like, what do you think of this, or what is your opinion on that? You know what I'm saying? And you're talking to everybody in the group. That's an advanced thing, which I feel like, you know, you'll be there soon. But I'll just give you a preview. But yeah, the base principle to approaching a group of girls is to approach the whole group of girls. Include all of them in the conversation. Don't leave any of them out. You know, and like,
I see.
almost as if they don't even know which one you're after. You know, like, I just want to be friends. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm not after any of you guys. You know, I'm just, you know, I think you guys, you know, look interesting. I want to get to know all of you. Fuck it. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But if you do that right, then you don't really have to worry about the friends. You know what I mean? Because they'll like you. They'll be like, oh yeah, he was really cool. But if you only talk to the hot one or the hottest one, then all the others are going to kind of be jealous, and they don't want her to succeed either. You know, it's this weird thing where it's like, friends are weird nowadays, where it's like they don't necessarily want anybody else to be happy. Like, especially misery loves company, right? So if a girl is unhappy, she's going to want her friends to be unhappy too.
I don't know. Sometimes this makes me even laugh too. What the world is become.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the nature of things, right? And you can be upset about it, or you can understand it and overcome it. You know, if you understand it and overcome it, then you kind of set yourself up for success. Or you set yourself apart from everybody else that's falling in line with the same shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you make the whole group feel, you know, you're funny, you're making them all laugh, like, you don't really have to worry. And then, you know, like, you know, if you have friends, right, they can come in and talk to them too. You know what I mean? Despite what anybody thinks, like, if there's a group of girls, right, more than one girl, if you're talking to one and the other one's just standing there, right, she's not gonna be happy. She's gonna be like, what the hell? Like, yeah. And she's gonna be annoyed, she's gonna be looking at you, like, and judging you and stuff. And even if the girl really likes you, she's gonna be like, no. You know what I mean? Like, girls are cock blocks. Girls are the biggest cock blocks for their friends. But if you engage the friend, almost talk to the friend even more than talk to the one that you actually want. You know, you want her to like you as a person. And again, none of this involves coming on too strong. None of this involves you letting any of them know that you're attracted to them. You know? Like, that was a big thing that you were talking about, like, the other week was, like, oh, what? But if I need to let them know, I need to establish this. It's like, no, you don't. You don't. You don't need to let anyone know. Like, the fact that you're talking to them, there's a degree of attraction. You know what I mean? And as you talk to them and you get to know them and they get to know you, right? That's how you build their attraction for you. You telling them that you're interested in something more like that, now they don't even want to get to know you. Because chances are, if they're not interested in the same thing, they're gonna be, it's weird now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But once you get to the point where you have like 4, 5, 6, 10 really good female friends, bro, the game becomes different. Then you're walking in the club with a bunch of girls that all think you're really cool. You know? And you don't have to tell any of them that you're like, I want something romantic. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, and that's when you get to like kind of really realize, like, you learn more about women through women, You know, all I can really teach you is like how to put yourself in a position to learn more about women through women. You know, and a lot of the messaging out there says women don't know what they want. And it's like, well, they don't, when it comes to them, they don't, you know, but if they're your friend, they'll help you out. You know what I mean? Like they'll give you pointers, they'll give you tips, you know, like they'll, oh, you should try this. And then sometimes their advice is bad. Sometimes their advice is good, you know, but like the more you get from them, the more you'll know, and you'll be able to make those decisions. Like, okay, like I think this would help in this situation. You know, ultimately it all boils down to you, right? Like you don't have to do everything they say, but getting their input is very important. You know, like that, if you have girls you can talk to the way me and you were talking, you know what I mean? Like then the results will become inevitable. It's not even something you have to worry about. It's just a matter of time. You know, you're on the journey, like you're figuring things out, like you're getting progress, you know.
I see.
But yeah. And so another thing you can do is like, okay, throughout the week and during the day, like it doesn't just have to be when you're out. Practice being friendly and kind to everybody. You know what I mean? Like you get an opportunity to open the door for somebody, you open the door for them. You get an opportunity, I think this is interesting, you start complimenting them. You know what I mean? You practice building that personality trait of kindness to everybody. You know what I mean? Because then it comes across as authentic, because it is authentic. You know, you want to step away from like only being kind and nice to people that you're physically attracted to, and more towards like being kind and nice to everybody. Because that's how you become that person that's just really good with people. And social proof, so that's when you get social proof. When you're good with people and people like you. Social proof is like, why, dang, you have so many friends, you just know everybody. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know anybody, then you have zero social proof. Social proof pretty much tells people that you're safe, in the sense of like, it's okay to like me. You know, the more friends you have, the better. But like, but social proof is also like, I have options. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I don't have a hard time with women because I can make friends with women very easily. You know what I'm saying? But throughout the day, throughout the week, like obviously, like you'll see, if you are friendly, like make it a point to try and be kind and friendly to 3 people a day. You know what I mean? Build that habit of like, okay, if you have the opportunity to hold the door for somebody, do it. If somebody holds the door for you, hold the door for them. You know what I mean? Like, be like those little things, they add up and they build out that personality. So if this week, every day you're kind and nice to 3, you have 3 moments where you're kind and nice to somebody. By the time the weekend rolls around, you'll see how easier it is. You know, like, and again, you're kind and nice, not for anything in return. Right? Don't be nice because you want something. Just be nice for the sake of being nice. You know, and that will build something within you that's like, oh, this person is just nice. You know, this person is all, you know what I mean? So, you know, hold the door, give a compliment, and then don't wait for a response. You know what I mean? Like if you see a girl and she has something cool on, hey, I like that. And then just keep it moving. You know, like develop that ability to like just give compliments with nothing in return. You know, no return. Again, you're just learning how to spread positive energy. Then you become that person that is positive to be around. And when people are around positive people, right, they feel better. Like it's not how you look or what you have or what you do or what you say, it's how you make people feel. If you make a girl feel good, feel better, you're going to leave a lasting good, positive impression. Whether she's attracted to you physically or not. You know, and that spreads out to everybody else. So again, I think that should be your goal for this week is be kind to 3 people a day.
Yeah.
You know, and then by the time the weekend rolls around, you'll have like, it'll be easy. You know, it'll be like, oh, like I'm just like, you'll eventually just be a kind person who's not just looking for what you can get. but looking for how you can improve people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. I think that should be good. I mean, unless you got any other questions, anything you need from me. If they message you, feel free, like, hit me up. What do you think I should say?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll help you out. But right now, if they're not responding, right, it doesn't look too good, you know, but it's okay, right? Again, don't get upset. Like, there's going to be next weekend. And especially, you're going to go into next weekend with an even more powerful ability to share positive vibes if you do what I'm saying to do now. You know what I mean? Like, you saw the power of your vibe last weekend.
Yeah, totally.
So now you need to work on, like, increasing that power, making that your vibe control, like, come out even more, like even more easily. You know, you're, like I said, you have the habit of, like, you know, even for me, like, if I see a guy at the gym and he's buff or whatever, bigger than me, I'm just like, bro, you put in the work, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you're a beast. Like, I do this thing where I'll like flex at a guy who's, like, big. You know what I mean? Because it kind of gives them an opportunity to flex back. You know what I mean? And it's like, obviously I'm way smaller. You know what I mean? It's not really a competition, but it's like, I see you, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing great, right? And just like me, like, when I'm talking to you, I'm excited, right? I become excited that you had success. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Interesting. But yeah, those things, you start doing those things, compliment people in passing, and you should be good. And then again, if they message you, like, and you do get into texting, hit me up, and then we can even hop on a call and I'll tell you what to say.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Yeah. But I'm proud of you, man. You did good, bro. Vibe control, dude. That's sick.
Yeah, I mean, I also didn't know how I heard it off.
Yeah, you did it, man. That's freaking dope. And it wasn't some girl working there. You know what I mean? Like, it was a girl having fun. Girl that's there.
Yeah, totally. And like, I was so lucky to find like a individual girl out there.
Yeah, I mean,
was single too.
yeah.
Basically.
So
Otherwise, most of the ones I find, like, they're either a group or I'm not single ones.
yeah, and that's fine, right? Like, again, it's always fine, right? You want to always keep this mentality, like, anything that could be construed as negative, you want it to be like water off a duck's back. It just rolls off. Like, nothing can make you upset.
Like, this numbers of single in USA are very less.
Actually, no. The thing is, right? A girl will tell you that she has a man or that she's not single if she's not interested, and she could be single. You know what I mean? And, like,
Yeah.
so, but if she's not interested, she could tell you, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Again, that's even better, because then you can go in the friend zone. You can friend zone her. You know what I mean? Like, it's totally fine. Like, you get, it's cool. Like, and act like, and respect her relationship, even if it's a fake relationship. Like, always have respect for her relationship. Don't try and cross any lines. Don't try to get perverted. You know what I'm saying? Like, really practice being a friend, right? That only helps you. That only gets you better. You know what I'm saying? And if they don't have a man, right, and they told you that they do, but you were friendly anyways, and you were just like, oh, that kind of lets them know that you're not just into them, right? Like, girls are allowed to do shit tests as well, right? A shit test is when they're checking to see, like, okay, well, what is this guy really about? Is he playing games, or is he a game? You know what I mean? Or, like, does he really just want this? You know? So sometimes it is like they're allowed to do that. There's nothing they're not allowed to do. You see what I'm saying? So you'd be surprised, though, like, there is a lot of single women. There's a lot of single women, but those same pretty single women, like, they have to deal with creeps all the time. You know, like, they don't want to give you their number because, you know, an unwarranted dick pic, you know what I mean? Or a sexualized conversation comes about. You know what I mean? Like, guys suck. Guys are gross. You know what I mean? Guys want one thing, whether they admit it or not. You know, they don't see the humanity in women. especially if they consume a lot of porn. If they consume a lot of porn, right, their perception of women is that women are just cock hungry whores. You know what I mean? And all women are looking like, if you watch more porn than you talk to actual women, your perception of women is that they only want that, and all women are walking around just super horny. You know what I mean? Because porn is presented through the male gaze, meaning it's for men, right? Women don't consume porn like men consume porn, right? Women read novels. There's a lot of depth that goes into women like, and their consumption of like their version of porn is like reading a romance novel. You know what I mean? And it's everything that goes into it. Like, if honestly, that's what my wife always says, is like, if you really want to like know what women want, read the books. You know, and I've read them, and it's true. Like, this is how they want the man to be presented. You know what I mean? Like, if he comes across like this, like, dang. And it's not what you think. It's not big old strong and freaky, and you know what I'm saying? No, it has nothing to do with that. You know, but like, if your reference for women is through porn, right, then all you're gonna see is like, oh, you're gonna get horny. Like, they're gonna have their titties out, and you're just gonna be like, that's all you're gonna look at. They're gonna have a nice body, and that's all you're gonna be focused on. You know, hey, eyes up here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking to you. You know, and it's like, all you see is that. So your perception of women can be misconstrued if you're consuming porn. Like, porn stars are actresses. All right, porn stars are in the same bracket as like the bottle girls and the strippers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not telling you the truth. They're not gonna be caught. You know what I mean? Like, they're convincing you of one thing, but that's not, like, they're working. It's money. You know, and if you really like have women in your life, like, the truth is, like, all the things in porn that like women don't necessarily want a ginormous thing. You know what I mean? That shit hurts. You know, like, give a girl an orgasm is not like it is in porn. You know, they're acting. You know, but if you consume a lot of porn, like, your perception of women is going to be shaped by the porn. And the average guy consumes a lot of porn, right? Because you have the privacy of your own, especially you're an adult, right? You have a phone, you have access, right? That's like, no one, you can do it and no one can know. But the way you act, right, towards women, the way you view women, you can tell. Like, I can tell the way, based off of a guy and how he talks and thinks about women. Okay, well, he probably consumes a lot of porn. You know what I mean? But if you have like references, like, if you talk to your mom every day, right, and you guys are super close, or if you have sisters, or if you have a lot of female friends, right, your perception of women is completely different. You see them as humans. You see them as people, not as like, oh, sexual gratification machines. You know, their whole, like, the most beautiful woman, right, they have a personality, they have experience, they have opinions, they have thoughts and emotions. You know, but when you in porn, like, you don't see or none of that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not an accurate portrayal of what women are actually like. And if you develop the ability to see what women are actually like, that is how you build like crazy connection. That's extremely seductive. It's like, especially like a hot chick, like, every dude is talking to her and they all want the same thing. And you're the one guy that's like, I want to know about your life. You know, you look interesting, like an interesting person. Like, you've had some interesting stories. I want to know those interesting stories. I see the humanity in you. I want to be your friend. You see the difference in that power?
Yeah.
So that's what you want to like kind of develop and realize, like, okay, porn ain't real, bro. Like, I'm not saying that there aren't girls that would be down to be like a porn star. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you know, yeah, girls can be freaky, and I'll be honest with you, like, they tend to be more freaky than men. But like, they're very selective. You know, like, men want, like, they have aspirations, tend to have aspirations of like sleeping with a lot of women. Women do not. They would always rather take one good person who knows what they're doing over a bunch. Like, the inverse is true in that situation, where they would rather keep their body. They don't want like a high body count. You know, I mean, granted, sometimes they're just like, fuck it, like, I just want to be desired, right, like, by somebody who's attractive, and that happens too. you know. But eventually, especially as they get older, they realize like that shit's empty. You know what I mean? It's not really like significant. It's like, oh, this is like, I'm tired of being, I don't want to feel used. Nobody wants to feel used. Do you like feeling used?
No.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just things to think about, right? If you can develop the ability to see like the interestingness in each human person, each woman, like you'll set yourself apart. So you got anything else for me?
Nah.
Is that good? Okay. Well, yeah, you got some things to think about, and again, this is your homework, bro. Be kind to at least 3 people a day. And it's simple, you know, holding the door for somebody, giving a nice compliment. Do it to guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gay to be kind to a guy. You know what I mean? They're not your competition, right? Like, and you never know what somebody's going through. Maybe one act of kindness can help a person, you know? So be kind, right? Like, it's not a gender thing. It's to everybody. If you're kind to everybody, you're making friends with everybody, then it's not incongruent. It's not inauthentic when you're friendly and kind to like a beautiful woman. You know, just develop the habit of being kind, opening doors, being respectful. Instead of saying thank you, say I appreciate you. And like almost in a way where you like, I appreciate you as a human being. You know, even if they did something minuscule. But I mean, that's what I don't really say thank you. I say, like, I look at the people and I say, I appreciate you. You know, you don't know. Maybe they never heard that shit before. Maybe they don't have anybody in their life that appreciates them. And you could be that person that says that, lets them know, like, hey, you're important. You know, you develop that, bro. Your personality is only going to get magnetic. You'll start to attract people in. Vibe control, baby.
Vibes though.
Vibes, bro. You understand it now. So like, okay, so I want to kind of hear like what is your take on vibes now that you kind of experienced it?
Take on is like when you are in flow with her, things become very easy.
Exactly. So what was your mentality to get into that flow, into that vibe?
It started off with the simple compliments and then went on to like asking some questions, and like something felt very common or felt like, oh, I can go ahead from this.
Yeah, I can relate, right? Like you found that thing. Oh, I can relate.
When it becomes relatable, then it becomes very easy.
And it becomes very easy. Exactly. What I'm talking about. You know, and then like I said, bro, you don't even have to ask. You didn't even. So she was gonna go, or you guys were gonna go, and she just gave you her number, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty sick, dude. Yeah. That night, you want to text her. You know.
I was expecting that she would like go directly, and
so did you?
I would be asking her number, but before even that, this happened.
Yeah, that's huge, bro. That is huge. That's good, dude. Let's see.
And the best part was that they find me funny, interesting.
Yes, funny and interesting. Good sign, bro. Good sign. It's funny too because those are kind of like indirect ways that a woman says that she says that you're hot or you're attractive. You know, if you're fine and if you're funny and interesting, you know what I mean. Like, I was kind of observing it when I was listening to the girls that were talking next to me when I was at the mall just chilling. But like, I think one of they were kind of talking about one of the girls' brothers. And they were like, oh yeah, he's so funny and da-da-da, and he's all, you know what I mean? And it's like, you're low-key saying that you're attracted to her brother. You know what I mean? Like,